and gentlemen, good morning to you wherever you are. Good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. You have to be somewhere. You're either in St. Kitts, the Leeward Islands, the OECS, the Caribbean, the entire universe. I don't know if you're hearing us WINN FM on Mars and Jupiter, but if you are, good whatever it is to you. Welcome to another edition of On the Ball here at WINN FM 98.9. I am your host, Troy Bif Mills, and it is indeed another pleasure to be here with you, bringing you sporting news from around the country, around the Caribbean, around the world. And we have all kind of sports we're talking about. We have football, we have cricket, we have basketball, we have dominoes, we have track and field, and it's going to be a lot of action. And we're having a guest tonight, Mr. Al Edwards, Coach Bo Edwards. He's a former first vice president of the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association. He's a qualified CONCACAF coach and a sports journalist, sports commentator. And we're going to be talking some football with him. And, excuse me, we must say happy birthday to those of you who are celebrating birthdays today. Happy birthday to you. If you're celebrating an anniversary, happy anniversary to you as well. If you are celebrating winning something, getting something in addition to the family and your baby and your boyfriend and your girlfriend and your set of fingernails, I don't know, we say congratulations to you. And those who are going through a period of bereavement, we say condolences to you. And one person that is standing out, well, two persons that actually are standing out is, at the first instance, Mr. James Hamilton, also known as Pepper, not really a sportsman, but one of the tremendous cultural icons we have had here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He played the banjo with the Jingle Bells string band. He was the captain, and he was also the singer, and he was the Grand Marshal for Sugar Mass back in 2020 when we had the COVID-19. So he didn't really enjoy the privileges of leading the parade. However, he was identified as the Grand Marshal, and he received all the necessary accolades as the Grand Marshal. And he passed last week, Thursday or thereabout, at JNF. And he was something like maybe 86, 87 years. So he had quite a bit of age on him. He was playing with the music, steel band, string band, guitar, quattro, what have you, since he was about 12. So he was in the business for like 75 years. That's a long time. That's a long time. We say condolences to his family. He lived up at Taylor's. We say condolences to his community as well, his friends, and of course to the Jingle Bells string band. I have had the opportunity to be the acting leader so far, and the funeral is going to be Monday coming at the Eastern Benevolent Society. And of course the Jingle Bells string band, we will be there performing. And we're hearing that most, if not all, of the folklore troops in the St. Kitts and the Honeybees string band out of Nevis, because he played with them a few times, they are going to be coming down, we understand, as well. So that is one of the bereavements. Condolences again to the family of the late James Pepper Hamilton. The second person is my neighbor. Neighbor actually diagonally across. Right from me, I could peep through window and see him on his landing, stay on my landing and talk to him. He was actually a former brother of mine way back when. His name is Paulie. Paulie is his nickname. And I forgot the correct name. But I understand he passed this morning. We say condolences to his wife, his children, his family, close and extended as well. That is really a shock, because was probably in mid-50s, early 50s, and a former brother of mine, way back when, of course. So we say condolences to the family of the late Fillmore Romney, that's his correct name, better known as Paulie. to all his family and friends and the neighborhood. To those of you who celebrated birthdays between last week, Wednesday, and yesterday, we say happy belated birthday to you. Those of you who celebrated anniversaries, happy anniversary to you. And those of you who celebrating next week, between tomorrow, God's Spear, and next week, Monday, we say happy birthday in advance, happy anniversary in advance. And speaking about anniversary, if I'm not mistaken, I think Edinburgh, I saw some pictures of video going around of him, looking quite frightened if you ask me, and he seemed to have tied the knots. So Eden, congratulations to you, and I wish you and your wife all the best. May you have a very good life together. And where are we going to start in terms of football? Boy, the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association that kicked off on not Sunday last, the Sunday before, that's the 16th, with the President's Cup. President's Cup is played between the league champions and the FA Cup champions. SL Horsford St. Paul's United, they won the league championship last year, and Montreal Farms Clean Right Old Road Jets, they won the FA Cup. It used to be called the Knockout Cup. So both engaged, and it was an easy 2-0 whipping for the Old Road team by the St. Paul's team. We say congratulations to them. And I remember saying year before last that I expect Bath United and Old Road to be in the Final Four either last year, this year, or next year, God's Spear. And I also expect one of them to win the league by then. Last year, that didn't materialize. This year or next year, God's Spear. And I also said within 5 years, that would put it by 2028, God's Spear, the other one would win the league. So between now and 2028, I am predicting that Bath and Old Road would have won the championship at least once. That's the two of them. And the season is young, of course. It's just the first round of matches. And we have 10 teams in the Premiership. So we're going to have 9 matches in the first round and then 9 matches in the second round. And then we're going into the Final Four. Of course, there was a lot of talk about the Premiership being expanded to 12 teams, with the 2 teams that were relegated, or 13 maybe, the 3 teams that were relegated to remain in the Premiership. But that clearly wasn't the case. If you look at the first match at Warner Park, Tropical Blossoms Hot Springs Bath United, they were runaway 5-2 victors over Mantab. The score at halftime was 3-0 in favor of Bath. We had Chris Jeffers. He opened the scoring for Bath United in the 6th minute, and then 7 minutes later in the 13th minute, Keon Smith put a bulge in the Old Onion bag for Bath, making it 2-0, doubling the lead. 13 minutes later, Philron Lavia, he made it 3-0 to Bath, and that is how they went to half time. When they resumed, Rocco Brown struck his first of 2 goals in the 51st minute via a penalty kick, making it 4-0 Bath. However, Joshua Bradshaw, he pulled one back 9 minutes later in the 51st, in the 60th minute, to make it 4-1, still in favor of Bath. 9 minutes after that, in the 69th minute, Sylvester Alexander, he cut the lead in half, so the score was now 4-2 in favor of Bath. However, Rocco Brown stepped up and he decided he wanted to give Mantab a handful, and just when the referee was about to blow off the game in time for stoppages in the 90+4 minute, Rocco Brown scored the second of his brace, and that match ended 5-2. Some 4 yellow cards were shared in that first match. Carl Tweet from Mantab, Rocco Brown, the goal scorer, Anthony Stephen, and Tiquan Bartlett, all 3 from Bath. The match officials were David Phipps, Makila Odane, Josh Walters, and Zoe Brown. The referee assessor was Delroy Jeffers, with Cassie Moddenbauer being the general coordinator. In the second game of the doubleheader, the feature game, Azul Keon Rockets, former champions, they came up against the reigning FA Cup champions and my predicted league champions at some point, Montreal Farm Clean Right United Old Road Jets. 1-0 halftime in favor of Keon, and they made it 2-0. Marvin Lewis, he netted in the 18th minute for Keon, and then Rajanique Hendricks, just before the final whistle in the 86th minute, hit with a bulge in the Old Onion bag, giving Keon the 2-0 victory. We had some 5 yellow cards, again, being shared. A lot of yellow cards. At this time, it's for Keon, Malik Hendrickson, Shane Prentice, Evans Roy Barnes, Kejon Watley, and Kai Trotman. Those were 5 yellow cards for Bath. However, we had 6 yellow cards for Old Road. Dickwan Brown, Nijan Brown, Kendall Liebert, Cardell Joseph, Iquan Fraser, and Jeshawn Stanley. There was also a red card, the first red card of the season. Malik Roberts from Keon, he picked it up in the 70th minute. Kareem Benjamin, Jaden Rose, Jevian Archibald, and Trevester Richards were the officials. The referee assessor was Kenny Martin, with Jason McCoy being the general coordinator. The following day, Sunday, 23rd, still in the Division 1 started actually at Warner Park. Fast Cash Saddlers United, they were in things for promotion last year, but then they lost some points and they fell out, and they could have gotten in at the end, but they didn't. They came up against KF Trinity Challengers United. Both teams have been in the Premiership before, for some time back, but KFC Trinity Challengers, they haven't been able to find their way up since they went down. That game ended 2-0 in favor of Saddlers United, 1-0 at halftime, when Estevian Barnes, he put away the ball from 12 yards out, a penalty in the 32nd minute. And in the second half, Kenrick McNeil, he put a bulge in the Old Onion bag in the 81st minute to give Fast Cash their full points and the 2-0 victory. Saeed Hanley and Delroy Mike picked up yellow cards. The veteran Tyrone Nisbet, he was the referee. Renick Bartlett, KJ Pierre, and David Phipps, the officials. The general coordinator, Kimberly Tucker Gums. In the first of a doubleheader, the second match on Sunday in the National Bank Group of Companies Premier League, Elko Limited Security Forces United, they won the Premiership, the first division, last season, 2024. So they were promoted and they were welcomed to the Premiership for yet another time. This is the second or third time I think they're there. They were welcomed by Sol Island Otto Connery with a 2-0 thrashing. Halftime it was 1-0 up for Connery when Caleb Bridgewater struck in the 16th minute. Jayan Duncan, he doubled the lead in the 54th minute for Sol Island Otto Connery, and that is how it remained. 3 yellow cards. Keandre Maynard, Orlando Watley, Javon Matthew, all from Connery. The officials were Trevester Richards, Makila Odane, Jevian Archibald, and Kareem Benjamin. The referee assessor was Lloyd Rose, and the general coordinator was Cassilis Richardson. In the feature game of the doubleheader, Rams Village Superstars, former champions, and they are the only team from Bastia in the Premiership. Of the 10 teams in Bastia, there are 9 teams from the rural and just Rams Village Superstars from Bastia. They came up against Jones Group Sandy Point. Now, Jones Group Sandy Point, from since about 1985, way back when I played for them, they've been winning the first division easily, or coming second accordingly, and coming up, spending one season and going back down at the end of the season. They have never ever spent 2 successive seasons, 2 years in the Premiership. Everybody is saying every year that this is the time for them. And it is felt this is the case. Notwithstanding, they took on a half a dozen from Rams Village Superstars. As a matter of fact, Sandy Point started the kickoff to start the game. So Sandy Point, they had the kickoff, they passed the ball, they lost it, and the ball was in the back of the net within the first minute, literally within seconds of the kickoff. That was scored by Dajal Kelly in the first minute. First minute, 1-0. 15 minutes later, it was 2-0 when Kimari Rogers, he scored the first of his double brace. He had 4 goals in the 16th minute, the 36th minute, and the 44th minute. Halftime, 4-0 in favor of Rams Village Superstars. So the entire park now start thinking, boy, Sandy Point gonna get a real thrashing. If you get 4 in the first half, second half, when Village turn up things, you're gonna probably get about 10, 12. Nothing to argue, so. That was far from the case. Whatever the coach told them, whatever pep talk he told them in the dressing room halftime, I don't know. I would say it worked, because they came back out and they held that 4-0 score for 20 minutes until the 65th minute, when the Kimari Rogers put in his 4th and final goal to make it 5-0. So in the 65th minute, there are 25 minutes more to play off, and they were playing and holding them out. But just before the final whistle, Mozari Hodge, he put a bulge in the old onion bag in the 90th minute to make it 6-0 for Rams Village Superstar. Therefore, Jones Group Sandy Point walking away with a half a dozen goals on the wrong side of them. And is this the wake-up call that they needed? I am not certain, but a lot of people hope so. Because when you really look at it, the football league in Sandy Point, which hasn't played for a few years, that is the second oldest football league in the country. That is second only to the National Football League, the Premiership as it is now in the first division. Sandy Point was playing football way back in the 40s, 50s. They had a league going, the strongest league going. As a matter of fact, the national team used to come down there when they're going and participating in the competition. They come to Sandy Point, get a sound whipping, and go back to Bastia. But that was then. This isn't the case now at all. Abidjan Woodley of Sandy Point, he picked up a yellow card. In the 6th minute of the game, it's really, really sad. A very ugly and disturbing incident happened with the fighting. The goal scorer, Dajal Kelly, and Alan Isaiah of Sandy Point. Both of them were recorded in the 6th minute of the game. 6 minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that it was not a pretty sight. And I'm really hoping that both clubs would put some serious discipline on both players. And for that breach, and that has nothing to do with the disciplinary committee, in my view, of the Football Association. I think both clubs, both of them have sponsors, Rams Village Superstars, Jones Group companies. I think the administration of both clubs should take things into their hands in the first instance and suspend both these players for at least 5 matches. That has nothing to do with the disciplinary committee of the SKNF8s. an automatic 2-match suspension when you get a red card, straight red card. But then the matter is going to go towards the disciplinary committee. They were fighting. And not only that, the fight continued. Though they were ejected from the game, the fight continued after. And players need to remember that it's not only your clubs that have sponsorship, but the FA. The league is being sponsored. Plus, it is carried live. It is being streamed. So everybody all over the world seeing this thing. And it is not a good thing for football in St. Kitts. I'm really appealing to all the clubs to discontinue this sort of thing. And we're going to get back to the results. But let us take a few minutes break because our guest, we have to set him up and get him ready. So stick and stay. Don't go away. We will be right back with On The Ball here at WINN FM 98.9. We will be back in a few minutes. And remember, the program is being streamed live on Facebook, WINN FM's Facebook, and WINN FM's YouTube as well. So if you're listening online, we thank you. If you prefer, you could tune in live on Facebook, via Facebook, or live via YouTube. So stick and stay, don't go away. We will be right back after. Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune into On The Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Bif Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On The Ball with Troy Bif Mills on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball.
St. Kitts and Nevis listens to
WINN FM 98.9.
WINN FM 98.9.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to On the Ball here to WINN FM 98.9. I am Troy Bif Mills. Today, Tuesday, the 25th of February. And we're having our guest. He will be joining us anytime now. And he is right here. So let us go straight to our guest. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening. Thanks for the promotion. I've gone from Mr. Edwards to Sir.
Yes, sir, Edwards. I've been quite fitting indeed. Ever since I've known you, you've been around football, you've been around sport, you've been around Keon. So,
in the blood, it's in the blood.
Could you tell us a little about yourself, please, sir?
Al Edwards, also known as Coach Ibu. Not Coach Ibu, it's Coach Ibu. One word.
Okay.
I've been around football practically all my life. I'm very much involved in organizing what was the World East Football Association and the World East Football League. Later became Green Valley League. I've been involved in coaching at the national level, national youth levels as well. And mostly I coached the Keon Azul Rockets in 2023 until health issues prevented me from going any further in coaching. I've done a lot of work in coach education, coaching badges, coaching licensing. Even during the COVID, when the COVID was on, we learned about the various platforms, Zooms and Teams, in getting coaching courses done over those platforms. And so I'm very much immersed in football. I've done some commentary in practically all sports except golf. I think they have their own concept. Not really a lover of golf, but I think I've done commentary, sports commentary in almost everything except golf. Table tennis, lawn tennis, basketball, netball, football, cricket, volleyball, beach volleyball as well. So it's been part of my life for many, many years.
So you're
taught me a lot.
the epitome of sports.
Say it again?
You're the epitome of sports and most qualified to talk on any and every kind of sporting discipline.
I wouldn't go that
Maybe
far
except golf?
to say I'm the epitome of sport, but yes, I think I'm qualified to give consulted opinion on certain issues. I've traveled a lot. I look a lot at football. I look at football development in other countries.
We really appreciate you taking time out, and we congratulate you on the work you've been doing over the years with the youth, with everyone, coaches, and especially in the football. We have seen the football season kicking off with the first round of matches on Saturday and Sunday. What sort of projections do you have for this 2025 season?
Well, it was very much the same like over the years, in that certain communities are strong now and they will study a progress throughout the season. I take it that places like Village, Keon, and St. Paul's will be among the top three again. But for this season, one of my major concerns that I've seen is the use of the Warner Park facilities. The Warner Park field in particular to have that many games. I think they've had games Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Tonight, Tuesday, there's supposed to be 2 games as well. And basically, my concern for this season so far is something that's done to address that situation. It's tough management. Because when we get to the drier months, probably in the mid-season, April, May, June, if that is not managed properly, you're going to end up with a dust bowl. We've seen it before in the past, and it's like we're repeating the same mistakes. Everybody wanted to play Warner Park. That should not be. So that's my main concern. the standard of football, we have to go further back and wait many years to see drastic improvements. Because we realize that when we leave the Caribbean, how far behind we are in terms of football competitiveness. With the others that are supposed to be in the same zone like us, the CONCACAF region like us, the Central American countries in particular, and the Northern Caribbean to a lesser extent.
What you think might really be some of the challenges, Coach, why we are not really apparently closing the gap with these?
And it's not just St. Kitts, it's the other Caribbean teams. If you look at the results with the other Caribbean teams against those countries, it's big figures to nil.
Male or female?
5-8. In some instances, at the youth level, there was a 20-0. In fact, there were 22-0.
Correct.
Canada inflicted one, and the USA inflicted another in the under 17 category, male and female. But to come back to your question, what I think may be the problem, one, we do not have the time, the money, or the culture. I repeat, we do not have the time, money, or the culture to compete with those professional teams of Central America and, to a lesser extent, in other Caribbean. I pause to let that soak.
And we're seeing the same thing, be it the under 17 males or under 17 females, under 20 males or under 20 females, even at the national level.
Truth be told, we have 10 national teams. And as I said, we don't have the time, the resources, or the culture, the football culture, to compete with places like Costa Rica, El Salvador, maybe Panama, but the Central Americans see football, and most of South Americans, they see football as a way of life, as a means out of poverty. We in the Caribbean, we see education as the means out of poverty, and therein lies the big gap. Youth in Central America would grab their football boots first thing in the morning and head to a football school, and then to classes after football. As I said to somebody, show me 2 parents in St. Kitts. And my grandfather to say one. Show me 2 parents in St. Kitts who allow their child first thing in the morning to go to football rather than to school. You pause. See whether you're one of the parents who will not do that.
We've seen some of our players going overseas, and currently Tikwani of Old Road, he's in Kosovo, and your young goalkeeper from Keon, he went to the MLS for a 2.5 week tryout last month, but I understand that he's back home. So we are getting opportunities to go here and there. So
that certainly is a method of improvement by getting our players to immerse themselves into professional settings, then come back home to play for the national team. However, it must be done properly. They must be prepared properly for these outings. And this has been going on for years. Ill preparation has been plaguing us for years, as far back as, I dare say, George and Isaac. It's also a mental preparation, not just the talent. It's not just the talent from waist down and maybe the trunk. It's from shoulders up.
What do you think?
And off the field. Because I'm hearing rumors that the same time Kwani might be returning to St. Kitts. And I can guarantee you that Kai has been back. And in both instances, this is just 2024, 2025. In my opinion, they were not properly organized or properly prepared for what they're going to get to see. For instance, Kosovo is a country that the temperature, if the temperature alone, would be a challenge to Taekwondo. Because he's accustomed to temperatures of 70 and above in St. Kitts as normal. In Kosovo, the temperature there for normal is 60 and below. That's the first step. The other aspect of it is that diplomacy. I use that word very cautiously because other people want to say, oh, we play them rude. But there's a diplomacy that's expected of you when you go into a professional setting. Don't you want to tell the coach anything and go on as we like. It doesn't happen in a professional setting because you're being paid. So they must be made aware of these things, how to approach this, how to handle your coaches, how to respond to your coaches. And that too is a big factor. I come back to the basics, even cooking, being able to cook a proper meal for yourself. A lot of these guys go up there, they're very sheltered. Their parents and guardians will earn even their very underpants and headbands for them. Cook for them. When they go home, they meet a meal on the table. When you go into a professional setting, you're basically on your own. And someone else will say, can you buy like? And then to buy food is always available, but to buy food, you might hold on it about a week or two. And these are the things that contribute to our players going out there and coming back within totos because they're not prepared properly for off the field. Yes, they can dribble, yes, they can kick, yes, they can shoot. There's nothing wrong with their talent. Nothing at all wrong with their talent. It might be superior. But when a striker like Troy goes to a trial and the coach will watch it and tell you, today I want to play centre back or go in the goal. Because I'm not a goalkeeper, I'm not come here for that. with tone and attitude, you find yourself on the bench or on the plane.
Mm. And that is how we think and operate.
And this is how we would think, you know. Man, when you got Taekwondo playing left back, Taekwondo we best striker playing left back.
Mm.
We a lot of us wouldn't be able to fathom it, but these are the kind of tests that they have to go through to understand how professional setting go. The coach wanting to play anywhere on the field, and you go and jump and do it as if it's the best thing you see in your life, not to shock and grumble and woo.
But notwithstanding what you've just said, Al, Jelani Archibald, he has been in Central America now for the better part of 2-3 years. And he's been moving around from various clubs. So would it be correct to say that he has found out what the formula is and living the formula?
I can point to two things with July. One is a different kettle of fish in terms of mindset. I've been around him and he's very, very, very determined. Two, believe it or not, he's over 6'5", and in every country, any goalkeeper like that will be loved. And so he would have a slightly different approach to his position, both on and off the field, in terms of the approach. We have a goalkeeper here who is 6'5", and automatically he is in good stead. You can ask Jamal Jeffers to back up on that. One of the tests that they have for goalkeepers to see if you can really make it is for you to walk under about 6 foot. If you pass under, they send you home. They're not asking how good you are, you know. Well, he's the best goalkeeper. Jamal Jeffers might be the best goalkeeper they've seen, but Jamal is 5'7".
About that, yeah.
He walks onto the bar, they say, okay, yeah, pack up, go home. That's it.
But couldn't Jama have been a Jorge Campos from Mexico who was one of the top keepers in his time, but he was like 5'7", 5'8"?
Yes, one in a, what's in Mexico, 1 in a million. Very, very, very few will come to like that. And when I saw the picture with Kai and the other two goalkeepers, although it wasn't a well-prepared trial, Kai was the shortest among them. And so I automatically felt in my heart that he was at disadvantage. Kai too is about 5'7", 5'8". But what he has going on for him is his youth. So he may just go to another good sport. And he may reach up to 6 foot in time.
Is there anything that science could do? And I'm not talking about the use of any illicit stuff or any illicit processes. But is there anything that science or coaches could do to encourage his growth?
Apart from steroids to become a bit taller?
Yes, apart from the steroids. Yeah, that is actually a challenge I find with us, generally in the Caribbean, especially the OECS. Here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are a short breed, a very short breed. Look at a yellow man. Look at a Rohan Francis.
Yeah. Yep.
We're short guys. And
at one point, I think Cambo was the tallest of the national team.
And he's not really a tall man.
No. We are short and robust in stature. That's typical Caribbean, apart from probably Jamaica and Tobago, maybe. And Antigua to a lesser extent. It has to do with the historical aspect of it, where the larger slaves were targeted to these countries for breeding purposes. So there's nothing much we can do about that. It is said that certain types of exercises encourage the body to stretch a bit. You realize people who play basketball, they're jumping and reaching all the time. They tend to grow a little bit more than youngsters who don't. So I would want to point to that. Maybe certain types of exercises that could increase his spring ability, so to speak, to reach the high bars that the coaches and technical people who are so convinced that shorter goalkeepers cannot get to them.
So with that being the case, coach, can't there be, let me be positive, could there be a concerted effort with the sports department, the medical, the medical fraternity, and the national associations to come up with strategic programs to encourage that growth sport, male or female, basketball, football? Well, I was at a basketball festival in Sandy Point on Saturday night, I think it was. And I was very impressed with some youngsters. They seemed to be in the teens, the high teens, mid-high teens, and they were pressing 6 feet hard. But it goes back to what you're saying. Basketball, the jumping and the stretching. That encourages growth. But can't something be done to say, well, hey, we have this problem, we need to overcome this problem? Let us have a discussion, the Ministry of Health, Department of Sports, national associations, how we can go about increasing the height of our male and female athletes.
Well, you're talking about maybe 10 to 15, 20 years of concerted work. And I don't think the ministries that you're so named are keen on doing this just for the sake of sports. We are not paying attention, unfortunately, we're not paying attention to these things. It's life as usual. We're not paying attention to these, whatever I call them, idiosyncrasies. But it's easier. It's way easier said than done because you first have to target almost like a breeding program. The Chinese do it. The Chinese are supposed to be small people in stature, but if you look at their volleyball team and their basketball teams, Yao Ming is one who made it to the NBA.
7-2.
That is how they.
And he was like what, 7-2?
7-2. That is how they target their basketball players. It has to do a lot with the technical staff too, in terms of choosing the players. For instance, if you go to a primary school, if I go to a primary school as a technical person in football, automatically my eyes will train on the tallest guy in the room, and I'll say, you, I want you as my goalkeeper. Period. Whether you go catch, jump, skip or not, I want the tallest guy. And that is thinking about the technical staff today. Because they're saying, height you can't teach. You can teach him to catch. You can trigger muscles, fast twitching muscles, and develop them. But you can't teach somebody to come 6'2".
Exactly. But it is a challenge, and based on what you're saying, if we don't start doing it now, 20 years from now, God's spear, you're not going to be having the same conversation.
Yeah, the results will remain the same. The results will remain the same.
So
as I was saying, it should be told, we cannot afford to trade 10 national teams to be competitive outside of the Caribbean. We have to face reality.
And that's in football only you're talking, 10 national football teams.
In any other sport, any other team sport.
Correct, because we just don't have the financial capabilities.
The time, or the resources, because remember, it's only 50,000 people. Plus maybe a few monkeys, some dogs and some cats. I think it's 50,000. 50,000. The entire, imagine this, Mr. Mills. The entire St. Kitts Nevis can fit into many stadiums around the world.
Correct.
The Maracana Stadium in Brazil holds 125,000.
True.
It means that St. Kitts Nevis, every single person in St. Kitts, barring none.
With dogs and cats and monkeys.
Dog, cat, and monkey fit in just one
and
section.
And some big stones.
Bring what you want. Just one section, maybe just another section of a stadium.
And we still can't fool it.
Can't fool it. So they could, the announcer could tell the entire St. Kitts Nevis, St. Kitts Nevis, could you please move from behind the goal? So it's not just financial resources, it's human resources. Because it's only 50,000 people for sports to develop. You don't have that many to choose from, whereas countries have millions. Even Jamaica has about 2.7 million right now, and we're not even near 100,000. And then the preparation, the pressure won't go down to the financial part of it, because very often we find ourselves in groups with other countries in the CONCACAF and speak to football. This is our region, we got a lot of sports. Same for volleyball. The Santo Domingo, the USA, Mexico, and them. So if you're going to play them in a zone, you have to prepare to play teams like that. So if you're going to, you're USA in a zone, you have to go and train in places like Canada and Mexico to meet similar competition.
To be the best, you have to be the best.
Can we afford for a 3-month camp in Mexico, a 3-month camp in Canada? To give them all the weather conditions, housing conditions, training facilities, food, medicine, etc., etc., etc.
And you still have the school element or the work element.
Correct. That's it. Yeah. They miss school and miss work. When they come back, they don't have a job. Oh.
But I
My
was...
point is we have to develop maybe just 4 teams, 4 national teams. And on the individual level, in terms of like track and field, we have to begin to look outside of the normal, regular races like sprinting and middle distance and long distance. We have to look at other things. The one that immediately comes to mind is BMX, bike riding. That is an Olympic sport. If my information serves me correctly, we have a guy whose parents are from St. Kitts, Karen, in fact, who is in the top 20 at the American circuit. In fact, maybe in the top 12.
And he has Kittitian and Nevisian heritage.
Say it again?
And he has Kittitian and Nevisian heritage.
Okay, maybe more specific. He has Karen heritage.
I ain't vexing you. But that's a good point, because for some time I've been arguing that maybe for the same reasons that you mentioned, that perhaps St. Kitts and Nevis, we need to step away from the Olympics in the areas that we like, but may not necessarily like us. And I became even more convinced of that last year, when we had the youngest athlete was 11 years. I think he was either France or Chinese, skateboarder. So you had quite a few, 11 years, 13 years, 14 years, etc., skateboarders. So I am thinking maybe we need to seriously consider archery and shooting and these individual types of sports as opposed to the footballs and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And just like how you've identified that BMX bike rider, there might be other Nevisians and Kittitians out there who may very well be into some of these other areas, these sporting disciplines. But go ahead, you piqued my interest.
We've seen the BMX winners here too. They got a lot of energy, a lot of tricks, a lot of talent that could be developed.
But you
just take a consult of what you said. This is where we're going. But we still continue to beat at the short sprints, which has been for hundreds of years dominated by Jamaica or USA. And then from the time you pass 400, the long distance, you cannot compete with those Africans, so that's for living. These guys, just to carry a message, will go over 3,000 meters. So when they come to Olympics to that 3,000 meters, it's just dropping a message.
Run down the road, drop off the message for me. And you're running 3,000. And I did hear a story about one of the young ladies. Maybe 1,500, 3,000 half marathoner, one of those distances. They asked her how come she came so good. She said she lived quite a distance from school. And every day she had to run to school because she didn't want to be late. And if she was late, she would have been punished. So she had to run to school. And then because it was so far, run it from school to get back home in order to do her chores and homework and study and all of that. So that is where the running ability at distances and the speed came about. But you've piqued my interest with the BMX rider coach. We don't have, BMX, I think it's an Olympic sport. And
yes, and Olympic real in the USA next. I'm almost certain that will be on the list of things again.
So then what is preventing us? Well, it's one of these hypothetical questions, really. What is preventing us from organizing ourselves to have that athlete, that BMX athlete, if he so wishes to represent St. Kitts and Nevis, because that's another thing. What is preventing him from wanting to register as St. Kitts and Nevis and us at the same time? Obviously, it will take a St. Kitts and Nevis BMX Association, which must be affiliated to the world governing body for BMX. So that kind of work could be started by you, by me, by somebody somewhere. And even if we're starting off with just the one athlete, we put our systems in place, the constitution, seek registration, etc., because, you know, in cricket or in football, one bring two, two bring three.
I think you're talking about the easy part in terms of the administrative part, because there's always guidance in how to get that done. The other part of it is that, yes, I think he wants to write for St. Kitts. Apparently he writes in St. Kitts colors. Either with the red, green and black, or he wears it a St. Kitts flag or somewhere on his clothes or cap or bike. So the seed has already been planted in him. But if you say the administrative part needs to be done in order for him to represent St. Kitts, then let's hope that somebody out there is listening us.
Can I ask you, Coach, please? Well, I'm a member of the St. Kitts and Nevis Olympic Committee. So, and we meet monthly. So can I ask you to get the details about the youngster? Particulars, who his parents are, etc., contact information. So I could take it to the SKN.
As younger people would say, too easy.
Well,
and what I would ask you to do is to sort out the idea at your next meeting. I don't know when it is, but sort out the idea. So I'll get that information for you. His name, his parents' name, and so on and so on.
Yeah, because this has to be a multiple-pronged approach, and apparently the harder part is the easier part, convincing him to represent St. Kitts and Nevis.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the harder part, because that's the challenge with most of our athletes. They'll prefer to represent the US or Canada or England, as the case may be. So once that is done, then we could see about the administrative element, organizing the St. Kitts and Nevis BMX Association, seeking membership with the international, regional, sub-regional, etc. And once we do that, we put things in place for him competing, whether at Pan Am Games or NECAC or what have you.
Let's not discuss it now. Let's do our work. Throw it out to the Olympic Committee. I'll do my part in terms of getting a name for you. Names and numbers, what have you.
You're listening You're listening to On the Ball here at WINN FM 98.9. I am Troy Bif Mills, your host, and our guest tonight is Coach Ibu Al Edwards out of the Green Valley region, very versed by his bio. He introduced himself, and we thank him for being there. Coach Al, could I ask you to stick and stay? Don't go away. Let's take a little break, and we will be right back in a few minutes. So please just don't join us. And in case you want to chip in and weigh in, you can give us a call, 466-09899, 466-09899, or 662-0989. Or you can send me a WhatsApp message, 668-2055, 668-2055. Stick and stay. Don't go away. We will be right back with more On the Ball. Tune into On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Bif Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Bif Mills on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WINN FM.
Do you want to know what's happening in sport? Tune into On the Ball, a weekly tour show which is on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. with me, your host, Troy Bif Mills. We will keep you on the ball with our variety of guests and, of course, your calls, discussing the facts and the stats and sharing your opinions. Get on the ball and stay on the ball by tuning into On the Ball with Troy Bif Mills on WINN FM 98.9 every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. and also on Facebook and YouTube. Be on the ball. And our guest tonight is Mr. Coachable Al Edwards out of the Green Valley region, former first vice president of the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association, a qualified coach, sports journalist, sports commentator, former football player. Don't know how many goals he scored, especially in the opposition's goal, but a very capable sportsman indeed. And, well, we've been talking primarily football. We shifted a bit to the BMX and Olympics because that triggered some interest. I like that. I think we here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we need to consider expanding our participation in the Olympics. And I'm very much aware of the adage, talk is cheap, whiskey costs money. And I know the government can't do it on itself, but the government does have a part to play, a substantial part to play, and the corporate community, they too have a massive part to play. And I remember Coach following the Calypso in Barbados, Trinidad, the arts. Calypsonians are sponsored, steel bands are sponsored, the Petrotrin whatever, and the whoever, Desperados, the football team, W Connections and what have you. And I remember asking, what's happening? Why is that the case? And I'm told that it's all part of their, not just them wanting to be good corporate citizens, but there's a financial element to it. If they, for example, in any 12 months, and I'm just picking a figure from the year, if they give out sponsorship to the tune of $1 million US, when it comes to the tax deductions, the government, the agreement is, since you sponsored 1 million, okay, we'll waive tax on 2 million US. We'll double it or triple it or 2.5, whatever the figure is. So we won't tax you on that amount because you would have contributed it towards the arts, sports, sponsorship, community, or what have you. So the question is, Coach, how possible or practical do you think would it be for something like that to work in St. Kitts, to have our community, our corporate community, getting more involved in the sponsorship of sporting individuals, teams, as the case may be?
It is very possible. I think now the corporate body is beginning to realize how important it is to attach their names to sporting organizations, sporting clubs that would give them more or less advertisement that they couldn't otherwise afford. You made reference to the Trinidad situation, and yes, it's not ideal because in some instances players were going without their payments for months. So it's safe to say one of the most successful teams at the time was the government-sponsored teams, police, and Defense Force. Those are the two top teams in the league during the 80s and 90s in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is because they took care of their players and all they had to do was to play football. Only in cases of emergency that these guys were called into play. For instance, when they had the insurrection, they were on the field and immediately the game had to stop. That's only how they actually called them into action. Other than that, they were more or less professional players.
Musicians
Their
similarly.
job was to play football.
The musicians, the bands,
And
similarly.
Right. So using that as a template, and as I said, looking at the errors that other countries experience with their professional league, it can be done. I am of the view it can be done in Yankees and Nevis. And with firm view, it can be done.
It's just today that I saw documents that one of the football clubs in the first division is receiving a joint sponsorship from two of the big companies in St. Kitts and Nevis. Obviously, I can't go into details. I know the names, but I won't be able to say who they are because I don't want to cut across their PR machinery. But
right.
I thought that was an excellent thing to have not one, two companies coming on board and sponsoring the football club. And
what I want to say here, Biff, is that people, because I've done it before, we have made business decisions based on the fact that certain organizations sponsor football clubs. I could recall many, many years ago when that restaurant over at Frigate Bay, I think it was Coconut Cafe at the time, had sponsored a team. And I wanted to go out for dinner. And I chose them mainly because of that. That their food was any better than any other restaurant nearby. But I said I was going Coconut Cafe because Coconut Cafe had sponsored a football team. Simple as that.
So that was part of the benefits of the club generating
of course.
More business.
They would not have gotten that money from me for dinner if they weren't sponsoring a football team. Similarly, my number plays recently have been done by Azul.
Because Azul sponsor Keon.
You have to say it.
But that is the reality. Because when a company is going to invest in a club, it's not just for the PR machinery. They expect some returns on the investment. They expect to see more customers coming through the door. They expect to see current customers spending a little more money. And like you mentioned with the restaurant and the nice and plate, they expect to generate new business. But the question is, and it's perhaps a challenge, some companies only want to be associated with success. And there will only be so many successful clubs. Everybody won't be successful. And
well, certainly they do not want to be associated with the negatives. I think once the club is striving to do positive things in the community, they won't mind if you're not very successful on the field.
Correct, most correct.
But the negatives, such as what we saw recently with the fight breaking out, it would have been even worse if those guys still had on their jersey. Because I understand it was two players who started the altercation on the field and continued off the field. I can assure you that sponsors and well-wishers found seriously upon this type of behavior.
Well,
and if it continues and festers, they would want to pull their sponsorship.
If you were part of one of the clubs, or you're part of the club administration that with one of your players involved in something like that, how would you handle it? What would you recommend?
The bans would have been stiff, in my opinion. Stiff bans, because to me, football and fighting don't go place together. If you want to fight, be a fighter. Put on the gloves,
join the
army,
army,
and you have to slug it out.
box or something.
You want to play football? Play football. If your technique of sledging and mouthing off works for you, then so be it. But don't resort to physical violence.
Well, before you came on the program, I said the same thing. I am hoping that both clubs will take the initiative of putting those two players through their own club's disciplinary machinery and
then add to whatever they said.
Yes, and suspend them for at least 5 matches. I don't know. They will automatically be suspended by the FA for 2 matches because of the red card. And I'm thinking the clubs need to send a strong message to other players and send a message to the sponsors that, hey, this is not something that we condone. And we are taking, we value your sponsorship, and we are taking our course of action, which has nothing to do with the disciplinary action from the Football Association. The Football Association Disciplinary Committee might say, okay, since they give them 5, we will settle with that. We're 5. We were thinking about 7 or 9, but since the clubs made that effort, fine. But I believe that is something that should really be taken seriously, especially with all the incidents that have happened in the past. You want...
Earlier, Biff, I mentioned that I coached the Care football team 2023. And part of the thing I used to tell them is that football is mental. It's a mental aspect of the game. And in my day, if I could upset your mentality to get you off of your game, I would, of course. And so several players in the team at the time had very short fuses, and I started to preach that to them. That if I played against them, they would not have a good game, because my purpose on the field was to well them up and to get them up. And I'd say opponents supposed to look at that aspect, but it doesn't mean that I want to fight you. I just want to win.
Correct.
After I win, I'll hug you up and buy you a drink. Yeah.
But
and I did that a lot. I did that a lot in my sporting career, especially in cricket.
Well, I umpiring games against Keon. I saw you at work. I saw you in your pink farm.
At one point, he was the umpire. Look, this is not for you. No. This is just for me to get him out. All I wanted to get him out. After that, meant he's fun again.
That's what it's all about.
I just want to win. And that is the whole point. I don't let the players understand that. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to hurt you. I want the 3 points. I want the cup.
That's all.
You could beat me if I give you 3 points. I'll be happy. Lose, fight, win match, yeah.
You're listening to On the Ball here, WINN FM 98.9. We have with us Coach Al Edwards, Coach Ibu Edwards. And, of course, you can give us a call, 466-0989 or 662-0989, and weigh in on the conversation, share your views. And, of course, if you're shy, like me, and you don't want to call in, you can send me a WhatsApp, 668-2055. It's now 2:28, and we're talking a bit of football. The Football Association season kicking off just but weekend, Saturday and Sunday gone, and already incidents which is really uncalled for and unnecessary in any sport, football, cricket, what have you. And when Coach Ibu Edwards brings his family, his wife and his girlfriend from Oversaw and the one from Oversaw, and have them seated strategically in the pavilion, and he's with the children, and he goes to the bar and he takes this route, or he goes to the bathroom and takes that route. He needs to be comfortable that they're not going to be threatened by any fighting and any incident. And it's really sad. I said five matches, suspended of 5 matches, and I'm here thinking about it and talking about it. Maybe it should be a little stiffer. Maybe it should be a little more. So when they wake up, they could realize, Barney, not me again. Because walk away. And the thing about this thing now, Al, these games are streamed live. So people all over the world could see
social
live.
media so rampant and so active. You have to be very careful even with things they say.
Exactly. And
Much less do.
it's not a case where it happened and you missed it. Say it was on television, so you don't know if and when they're going to show it on television. When it is streamed, you could wake up 2 o'clock in the morning, look at the whole match again. Go back next week, next month, look at the whole match again. So technically, there's a somewhat permanent record of it. And you want there to be permanent records, but not for the wrong reasons. You want to play a coach or scout looking at the game and say, hold on, let me take a closer look at that guy. I like what I'm seeing. But I don't know. There's something, Coach, I need to get your opinion on it, please.
Before you go there, there's a story I always like to share. As you mentioned, in my accolades, I did some sports journalism. And I go back to a year when Haiti played against, I think it was Mexico. Mexico came out as a guest to our Caribbean youth team. A youth competition, sorry. And the competition was in Trinidad. I went there as a sports journalist reporting for my own paper, Strictly Sports. At the end of the game, the Haitian team lost 1-0 from a deflected goal. And those guys were on the ground with a wailing and gnashing of teeth, bawling, long water with the eyes, not coming out their nose. So I put on my journalist bib and went down to the field to interview the coach. So the first thing I asked him was, why is it that his team is behaving like that for a loss, a 1-0 loss, where they accounted for themselves very well and had the Mexican team at the back for most of the game, only this fluky goal for a deflection that caused them to lose. I had a translator with me, and I remember the coach saying, set a keep, I remember those 2 words, set a keep, in French that means this team, and he went on, blah, 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 blah. The interpreter said to me, this team has been together for 10 years. It was on a 17 tournament with.
Wow.
On the 17, and he's telling me that the team has been together for 10 years.
So since the 7? Wow.
Good maths. Good maths. Can you imagine that happening? So you take a bunch of 7-year-olds and have them together for 10 years?
I don't believe you'll reach 3.
You might reach 3 days.
It might be challenging to with the parents as well, and that sort of stuff. But and it goes back to the investments that you mentioned earlier: time, finances, the human resources. We just can't compete. But before you run off, Coach.
Yes, you was asking my opinion. Go ahead.
Yes, your opinion. Our national under 17 females, the coach was the same coach that was used for our national under 20 females. Is it a case that we have so very few coaches in St. Kitts and Nevis, qualified coaches, that one coach has to be coaching 2 or 3 multiple national teams?
Well, that's a very ticklish area. I hope in trying to answer and give my opinion, I don't get one by the color, because I've expressed my opinions about that in previous platforms. It's a travesty to coaching. Even if we don't have coaches, you cannot do a good job coaching 3 different teams, especially when they're competing one about the same time. One of those teams, if you're coaching 3 teams, 2 will suffer. After all, you're only human. That's one. It has never happened out of the 200 something countries in the world. I think it is only happening in St. Kitts Nevis alone.
Lord cut song.
I tried to get over to the young man because he has been to some of the coaching courses that we did. And he basically rejected my overtures, going to and deflected it into other things, which wasn't relevant as far as we're concerned. But it is one of the flaws, in my opinion, of the current administration, for them to be reaching out to one person to coach 3 different teams. And it came to a head when he has to leave one to go to another one in competition. When they are all kind of models, coaching models, how you do succession and succession planning. Head coach, assistant coach, then second assistant coach, as the case may be. And we are there are other coaches beside one who can do as good a job. But I can't answer for them as to why they do that. But as I can say, I think it's the only place in the world of 200 and something independent countries that situation persists. I don't subscribe to it. I don't recommend it at all. It is not good for the coach himself. It is not good for the team. The teams.
Now, when we reflect on the performances of the team. The under 17 females, we lost 6-0. I think we got all nil. We beat somebody 3-1, I think it was, which we are expected to beat. But then the same team now is going with the same coach is going with the under 20 with such heavy defeats at the under 17 level. How receptive will the players be to him? What sort of confidence would they have in that coach now?
This is where I'll defer the coach, whoever he or she may be. This has nothing to do with the coaching. This has to do with how we prepare for the competition. And that goes beyond the coach himself. That's the entire nation. That goes back to what I was talking about, the time, resources, and culture of preparation. You go get the best coach in the world and give him plasticine and tell him build a wall house, he's not going to get it done. So it has nothing to do with the reception of how the girls receive the coach and see him and things like that. 9 times out of 10, a professional setting will beat the amateurs. You can't expect kindergarten to beat high school students. And the one time that an unprofessional team beats a professional team, it has to be a well-talented, well-prepared, well-organized team. And these situations that the coaches find themselves, those are themselves for that, doesn't lend itself for that. They don't have the time to prepare, they don't have the money to prepare, they're not prepared.
Kenya defeated West Indies
in the world.
In the World Cup in 1996.
And ill preparation, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah.
So I don't look at it from a coaching perspective. I look at it from the overall picture. And it happens in, and as I say, it happens in practically all of the national teams because we want our under 20 to do well. We want our under 17 to do well. We're expecting under 15 to do well. Same for the under 13 and at the national level. It will not happen. It will not happen. We have to say, hey, our 3 top teams or 3 most talented teams are the females under 20, the male senior team, and the boys under 17. And this is where we're going to spend our time, effort, and money. Not that we forget the other teams, we have other objectives for them, be it scholarships, be it semi-pro league, be it whatever, what have you. But to focus on teams that we want to perform well outside of the Caribbean and bring glory to the Black Star lineup. We cannot have all those teams trying to prepare half-heartedly and expect them and cry out about coach and players and goalkeeper and defender. And no. These guys put in the best they can, but without the resources to prepare properly, we are doomed to failure. That's my take on that.
That, to me, that is a fair position. And, well, earlier we were speaking about the groupings, because for the under these CONCACAF and Pan Am games, the groups are determined by a pot. We have by the first top 20, and then the second tier is the second 20, etc. And one from this pot, one from that pot, one from that pot. For example, in the under 20, the Jamaicans were ranked at number 6. They gave us 3-0. The Nicaraguans, the host, they were ranked at number 14, I think. They gave us 8-0. We were ranked at number 16 or thereabout. And the US Virgin Islands were ranked at number 25. And they defeated us 1-0. And you remember when Kenya would have defeated the West Indies in the World Cup cricket back in 1996. West Indies, well, we were still in our heady, so to speak. So, but it's a very important point. There's a saying that a broken clock is correct twice a day. So once you keep playing opposition, at some point you're going to beat them here and there once in a while. But I like what you're saying in terms of the investment, not being able to invest in 10 national teams at the same time because of various challenges we have. I'm hoping that the powers that be would see that. And if you're looking at the challenge with that from a football point of view, where the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association, and it is no secret, they get the most monies from the international parent company, FIFA. They get how many millions per year? Whereas table tennis, we get 3,000 US to do a project. It's chalk and cheese. Well, I don't believe that's even chalk and cheese. That might be cheese and sand. But
yep.
And if it is still a challenge with the Football Association getting these monies in cash and kind, you could only imagine for basketball and the table tennis and lawn tennis and what have you, etc., etc. But I think the time has come where the government, the corporate community, the Ministry of Finance especially, need to sit down and come up with a package to try and encourage the corporate community to get more involved in sponsorship of the arts and sports, etc., etc., and get a bigger bang for their buck from the government, so to speak. But as we're heading towards winding down, Coach, any final words you'll want to part with us?
Well, I'll probably go back to where he started in that our players, if we're going to improve, part of it is for us to get into these professional teams, but they must be prepared for incidents on and off the field. Prepare them properly, then send them out. Not just send them out to satisfy a criticism here or a broken promise from 10 years ago. Prepare them properly. Otherwise, the majority of them will be just returning home.
So we need that greater support.
Oh, yeah.
And Coach, I thank you for taking time out to be with us, to share your ideas, share your experience. And it was indeed very educational. And I appreciate
Don't forget, we have homework. Eh? You have to drop the idea of BMX into the Olympic Committee. And I have some homework to do as well.
Both of us have homework to do long term. I haven't had homework. So, because that is something that I'm excited about. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get that off the ground. And it's not the first time you've been on the program. It's the first time that, so long for want of a better expression, a complete feature guest. And it's not going to be the last time. And I really appreciate it. This is the football season in St. Kitts and Nevis. You're a
But I trust at
sportsman.
some point I'll come back during the season where I can give a good assessment of what I've seen in terms of first division and second division football.
Indeed.
But I don't expect any. I'm gonna say it now. I don't expect any surprises. The top teams from over the years will be the top teams. The Village, the Keon, the St. Paul's. Bath will continue to threaten because Bath has a good work ethos. They've never stopped training since I know them.
What about Old Road?
Yes, Old Road too. Old Road is in the top 4. Well, and don't count out St. Peter's because St. Peter's is the fastest growing area. Remember, Bath still grew into St. Peter's, so St. Peter's supposed to be in the limelight. So if I'm going to speak a top 5, it would be Old Road, St. Peter's, Keon, Village, St. Paul's.
Elko Limited St. Peter's and Jones Group Sandy Point. Both of them have been to the Premiership security forces at least twice. This is their 3rd time. They haven't spent 2 seasons. Since about 85, Sandy Point has been coming up and going down like a seesaw. Do you think that, what do you believe the approach would be to this season? To defy all the odds and stay up a second 2 years in a row? Or it's going to be a seesaw here?
Well, in my opinion, it comes down to weak teams versus strong teams, and there's a formula for that. Usually, you would have to pay to get those kind of formulas from me. But Sandy Point in particular, they have some talented people there, but it's their mental attitude. They want something like a Jose Mourinho mentality. The game starts at 0-0. You have to prove to me you're good enough to score on me. I'm not going to make it easy for you. And that's all I've come here to do. I will frustrate you and frustrate you and frustrate you up until the 68th minute. And then my aim is to stick in one and let's see what you're made of. So in general, for those weaker teams playing against stronger teams, I would normally have a defensive setup with counter-attacking in mind. Mainly to frustrate them. I can recall St. Paul beating Dead Bay 2-0. It goes win scored in the 87th and 89th minutes. And I was saying to myself, boy, this Dead Bay coach reading my book. But then they made it easy for St. Paul's to get in there. They allowed, what's his name, Kiddy Fium with a 1-on-1 from a long ball from Jamal. And it was 1-0 in the 87th minute, and then they came back and scored another one. But don't think you're going to come up from second class. It's a totally different ball game down there and play toe-to-toe with these top teams, the top teams that I mentioned just now. And that is what the players are thinking. They have to buy into the concept of frustration, defense, a low block, a mid block, 2 low blocks, if you understand the terminology.
Yep.
Counter-attack, sticking in one, and let's see what you're made of.
We go back to black.
It will look ugly, but it's a survival.
It's all about 3 points.
Or even 1.
Exactly. In the first division, South Stars, they've been up and down a few times for the last few seasons. Spurs and the Newtown relegated. What are you expecting from them down in the first?
I would expect them to come back in up to Division 1 because it's two automatic positions, right? First and second.
Correct. Plus, I heard today that they had done away with this playoff between 8th in the Premier and 3rd in the first. I never ever did support that, but I'll have to do some research and find out if that is actually the case. If it is, I support it 100%. You either send up 3, bring down 3, or send up 2, bring down 2. Not I play you to see who can stay up and stay down and whatever.
Well, I disagree.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why I disagree too, because, in my opinion, the caliber of the competition in that division does not warrant 3 teams getting promoted. You get some very, very easy points down there. A lot of points by default. The competition is not as stiff, as serious. And so to come third in Division 2, in my opinion, you don't deserve to get a promotion into Premier. And it will show you come up to the February against the stronger teams. You just make a about turn and back down. For instance, several years ago, Sunny Point was 150 goals scored against Sunny Point. 150 goals scored against Sunny Point when they came up in the Premier Division. I mean, this is watering on the product of your Premier Division. When they came the second time, they fared a little better. I think it was about 110. And even this year, I think they've started out already with 6 so far from Village. Half dozen non-counting, yeah.
And they...
So that is the reason. And even a one-half game, as in the case with Manta and Newton, I still don't agree with that. To me, it should be like a best of 3.
Okay.
To prove yourself. Because to come third, if you come third at 28 points in Division 1, about 9 of those might be 3 points from teams not showing up or showing up with BS7 or 8.
On the strength teams.
On the strength teams who start at 11 and then somebody got a red card. Or they just barely 11, they can't even make a substitution because he's on the field. Dog, tired. Just overwhelming teams. Easy. And then when you come up in Premier, you can't even score a goal.
Well, I appreciate it and look forward to the next few weeks when you're back here after some games would have gone. So
yeah,
we could review it. Thanks a lot, Coach. We really appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you. You're welcome.
As we're now going into the wrap-up phases of On the Ball here at WINN FM 98.9, we say thank you very much to Coach Ibo Al Edwards, former first Vice President of the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association. He is a qualified coach, a sports journalist, a sports commentator, varying disciplines, and a trainer. He has been conducting coaching courses, and we really thank him for being with us. We have some 7 minutes or thereabout to go, and we were talking about the point system, the scores in the Premier. Sunday, Elko Limited St. Peter's, they went down 2-0 to Sol Island Otto Connery, and that was the first game of the Premiership. The second game of the day, Caleb Bridgewater in the 16th, Jane Duncan in the 54th. In the second game, Rams Village Superstars, they would have given Sandy Point a 6-0. And Monday the 24th, last night, St. Paul's, they took care of business 3-0 over Development Bank St. Peter's, 1-0 at halftime in favor of St. Paul's. Keith Y. Freeman, picking up from where he left off last year. He put a bulge in the old onion bag twice, in the 16th and the 84th. Kalanji Clark, he converted a PK in the 54th minute. And in terms of upcoming games, Friday the 28th at 8 p.m., Sol Island Otto Connery going to be taking on Mantab. And on Saturday 1st, 6 p.m., Sandy Point will lock horns with Tropical Blossom Hot Springs Bath United. And 8 p.m., Sol Island, SL Horsford St. Paul's, and Rams Village Superstars will battle it out. That's Saturday 1st at 8 p.m. And we're still in the cricket season. And in the St. Kitts Cricket Association's 40-over league. On Sunday, 2nd March, there will be 2 games at 10 a.m. at the Sandy Point New Recreation Ground. Police and the Sandy Point will battle it out, while at 10 a.m. over at the Elgar Gilbert Sporting Complex in Molyneux, St. Paul's and La Poinciana will clash. We are in the sporting season, and the sports day, they are coming fast and furious now. On the 26th, which is on Wednesday, Ivor Walters Primary School, they will be having their athletic meet at 12:30 p.m. at the Nevis Athletic Stadium. That is Wednesday, 26th February. Ivor Walters Primary School, they will be having their athletic meet at the Athletic Stadium. On the 27th, which is Thursday, 27th February, Joycelyn Liebert Primary School, they will have theirs at 12:30 p.m. at the Nevis Athletic Stadium. So go on out and support those in Nevis. While we look down at St. Kitts, the Keon Primary School, they will be having theirs on Thursday, 27th February, their sports day, at the Keon playing field. Keon Primary School having their sports day Thursday, 27th February at the Keon playing field. Also on Thursday, 27th at the Patsy Allers playing field in Bastia, up in the village, Dr. William Connor Primary School, the primary school champs of St. Kitts, will be having their sports day. On Friday, 28th, we are having 4 different sports days happening all around the place. At the Gardens playing field, Friday, 28th February, 4 sports day, Gardens playing field, Halliday Smith Primary School, formerly Irish Town, they will have theirs. At the Edgar Gilbert Sporting Complex, Joshua Abadiah Williams Primary School will have theirs. At the St. Peter's playing field, Dean Glassford Primary School will be having their sports day. And at the Newtown playing field, Immaculate Conception Catholic School, they will be hosting their sports day. So 4 sports days happening on Friday the 28th, 2 on the 27th. So go on out and support these schools, support these young children, because this is where it all starts from. You cannot become a Kim Collins unless you start at these levels. So we're encouraging all of you to go on out. And we still have some biggies coming in terms of track and field. We still have the Sandy Point Primary School, Dateby Primary School, Washington Archibald, Bronte Welch, Cotton Thomas, George Moody, Tucker Clark, Violet Petty, Sadler's Primary, St. Paul's Primary, Tyrrell Williams, Keon High. The Carifta Trials will be happening on Saturday, 15th March at the Nevis Athletic Stadium. Virtuals High School, they're having theirs on the 16th. The Rams Primary School Championships, that's eliminations. Rams Primary School Championship eliminations will be happening on Tuesday, the 18th of March at the Kim Collins Stadium. And then the finals will be taking place on Saturday, 22nd and Sunday, 23rd March, also at the Kim Collins Stadium. The TDC Inter-High School Championships, that takes place over the period Thursday 27th to Sunday 30th March 2025 at the Kim Collins Stadium. The Golf Insurance Primary School Championship in Nevis, or the Mini Olympics as it is called, that takes place on Wednesday 2nd April at the Nevis Athletic Stadium. The Carifta Games, and some 8 or thereabout athletes have so far qualified from St. Kitts and Nevis. That will be happening in Trinidad and Tobago, Saturday 19th April to Monday the 21st. Friday the 18th of April is Good Friday. Monday the 21st is Easter Monday. And the Sports Department St. Kitts and Nevis Primary School Challenge, which caps off the primary school season here, the track and field season here in St. Kitts and Nevis. That happens on Sunday, 4th May 2025. So as we now get ready to slip away, we thank you for being with us here at On the Ball on WINN FM 98.9. I am Troy Bif Mills, your host. I thank our guest, Mr. Coachable Al Edwards, who was here with us as well. And you can drop me a line, tkmilz@hotmail.com. That's my email. Or you can send me a WhatsApp, give me a call, 668-2055. Make any recommendations on how we could go about better satisfying your expectations, better serving your needs. And of course, we encourage you to come on board and partner with us as a sponsor for On the Ball here at WINN FM 98.9, or even our news package. Be a joint sponsor for our sports news package, which happens daily as part of the sports news package at 6 p.m. and a rebroadcast at 7 a.m. every day. We do the sports 7 days a week here at WINN FM 98.9. So we thank you, and we encourage you to come on board and partner with us so we could ensure that we are able to bring our sports package to you and bring On the Ball to you here at WINN FM 98.9. I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for listening, and I am encouraging all the drivers to be patient on the road, please. Be patient, because if you're not patient, you can end up as a patient at one of the hospitals in the Federation, or much worse, you could go to the great beyond. So please be patient as a driver. Be very vigilant with what is happening. And before I leave, I encourage you to always be positive in your words, in your thoughts, in your actions. Thank you for listening. Please tune in next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. for On the Ball here at WINN FM 98.9. Have a good night.